Hello! Welcome back to the Nerd Nation podcast. Today we're reviewing Netflix Dracula. Yes, we are. By we mean me and Zam and I. Zam, say hi.
Hello there. I do apologize. I am still sharing this video of ours to everyone I know. But yes, I have also watched Dracula. I have a lot to say about it. And yeah, that's basically it so far.
Yeah, so where should we start?
I think we should start with episode by episode and then we just give our. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, episode to
Okay.
episode and then we just give our overall opinion. Let me just lower the volume on this thing, please. Yes, but yeah. So, you want to start off with episode 1, Chris?
Yes. Here's the thing. Episode 1 is probably the one that is well, I say okay, that it's most what's the fucking word? Loyal to the source material maybe, but not
Yeah.
really. It's where it's more like the actual story, Dracula's castle, the whole deal with Jonathan Harker. But of course, it's its own different thing. I actually found it quite refreshing to see the changes that they chose to make. Like, okay, uh, Van Helsing chick. I mean, why not? It worked. And considering how they ended it, in what note they ended it, it kind of made some sense. But I like that actress too. I don't remember where I know her from, but I like her. Uh, no, story wise, I think. Look, it's been a year since I've actually read the book, so I don't remember it 100%. But I think that the depiction of what went on in the castle was pretty accurate. Uh, I'll have to reread this book, man. It's been a long time. Um, but yeah, uh, I don't remember where the first episode ended. To be honest, it ended at the convent, right?
First episode was all about Jonathan Harker, pretty much
Yeah,
his
but
ordeal
but it, but it
in.
did end at the convent when uh when he was
It
getting
end,
the
or I think the ending came just as he was about to kill the last two nuns, Van Helsing and Jonathan Harker's fiance. That's
yeah
when it
yeah
ended. But he got
yeah.
inside because Harker invited him in.
I found it very like okay, the choice of the actor. It is fucking awesome because as we said before starting, we were kind of discussing the actor choice. Uh, oh look, cousin Cheeto is here. Well, fuck you
Yes,
too.
and Steve Smith. Hello, Steve Smith and cousin Cheeto.
Yeah, I know. No, Steve should go away if he hasn't watched it because this is gonna be spoilers ahead. I mean, there's already spoilers, duh. But anyway,
Sorry, I have a phone
uh,
call to take. Sorry. Can I call back in an hour? Cool, bye.
Zam
Go on,
pretending to
continue. I
be busy.
apologize.
The choice of actor, he he kind of not exactly looks like, but reminds both of us of both Christopher Lee and Bela Lugosi. So it's like if Christopher Lee's Dracula and Bela Lugosi's Dracula had a baby, it would probably be this one. It was pretty interesting. The choice of
No,
actor.
good casting, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
yeah, it was really good casting. And generally speaking, I liked the cast. and acting was good. Okay, let's just go from the get go that it's not true to the book. Okay, it's not book accurate. It's a reimagining of sorts, but to be honest with you, I found that very interesting and quite refreshing actually, because there are so many Dracula movies out there that are all the same shit that finally we see something different and something new. And okay, I know that I haven't really looked to the internet how what people think about it. But I expect that it was they made Van Helsing a chick. Well, fuck you. It worked. Uh, and to be honest with you, it worked quite well. Because it created a very different dynamic between Van Helsing and Dracula, because it was like there was a lot of sexual tension between them.
I think there
And
was a lot of sexual tension between Dracula and anybody he fancied, male or
well,
female,
yeah,
in
well,
this
yeah,
version of
but
Dracula.
with her, it was on a whole different level because she was uh, up to his level, let's
Intellectual.
say, intellectually. Yes,
Yeah.
even surpassing him, I'd say at certain points, many points. So yeah, I think it worked really nice. Now on the first episode, pretty much we have the whole origin of it. It was, as I said, the most book accurate episode. With the things happening at the castle, how he slowly consumed Mr. Harker into a shell of his former self. Uh, how he escaped the castle. No, we're not talking Morbius. What the fuck? We're talking about Dracula. It says it right there, dude. Yeah, you are busting our balls. Jesus fucking Christ, this guy. Okay,
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
okay.
Anyway.
You want to know something? Look, I'm gonna tell
Hmm.
you in your face because why am I echoing? Zam, you're doing something. I'm echoing. What is said about you, cousin Cheeto? I'm not gonna put your real name here, but you know who you are. Is that you're an idiot with a good taste in music? So, well, I guess you have something going for you, which I cannot say for other people. I'm not gonna.
Get
Look,
back.
look,
Get back on point.
I'm not gonna turn this into a bitch fest, okay? uh, where were we? Yeah, episode 1. Yeah, how Harker escaped from the castle. His account being given was done in a convent in Budapest, which is
Mm.
close. I'd say, but not. But anyway, and he was actually turning into a vampire at the time. Mina was there, but he could not remember her face, so he didn't know she was there. He just knew who Mina was, but couldn't remember her. Um, and yeah, well, this whole shit was going on. Dracula appeared to get his bride back, because Jonathan Harker was his bride, right? Yes. And
You're
okay,
feasting off him.
okay, here I'm gonna make a small parenthesis and say, why is it that in such movies I'm always rooting for the bad guy? Like I was rooting for him and I wanted him to kill those nuns. Am I evil? I don't know. But
Probably.
I have a soft spot for vampires. I'm sorry. Is this obvious? Is it? I don't know. But anyway, at which point he appeared as a wolf and then confronted by Van Helsing, and then he just ripped out the wolf and got born out of it or something, and he was naked in front of the nuns and shit, but he couldn't go in. until Jonathan Harker invited him in because he was his master after all, and he promised to kill him if he
to
let
kill
him
him.
in.
Mm.
Yeah. So the nuns are in prayer. While they're praying, the head nun's head falls off. Ah, oh, the carnage. I loved it. And I think it was pretty clever how they bypassed the nuns' defenses in the was that the basement or something where Van Helsing made a
Well,
fucking
she put those,
yes, made a circle
those
out of Jesus crackers.
no, but those Jesus crackers had garlic in it. Yeah, which is why she
No,
used.
no, they
There
were
was a mention of the word.
consecrated.
There was something. There was a
No.
mention of garlic. She did. There was the word garlic mentioned throughout that process. So I was thinking to myself, where was the garlic? Was it
Oh
in the
my God,
biscuits?
no. The crackers were consecrated. That's why he couldn't pass. But of course, he did
All right,
pass
fair
because
enough.
so he used Jonathan's face to trick Mina into inviting him in
And she let him in.
and to let him in. And that was pretty much how
But it
the
worked.
episode
It
ended.
shouldn't have worked,
Yeah.
Chris, because she was inviting Jonathan in. Yeah, not him. And I think she mentioned she was referring to the names of Jonathan. So in a way, it shouldn't have worked. But he still came in anyway because we all know it's bullshit anyway. But anyway,
No,
we can
because he
go on
was
about that
wearing his
later.
face.
But she said, didn't she mention the name Jonathan or my love or
Doesn't
whatever?
matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay,
Doesn't matter. The invitation was done.
okay.
Lip Oh, and the other thing, I really like the castle, how they designed it, how they uh, how Harker was able to figure out how to go about in the castle, even though he didn't have the strength or the you know uh the strength to do it, but mentally he was trying hard. Like I have to give him credit for that. Like he was trying. Like that was a solid 5 out of 7.
I mean,
How much he tried.
regarding this episode, I like. I'll just go to the bits I didn't like. I didn't like the way that he just somehow hoped there was a fucking map behind that painting. It was a good guess, but really, there's no logic behind it. Um, and yeah, he got that map and stuff like that, which was okay. That bit kind of annoyed me a little bit.
Yeah, but it
But
kind of
other
worked.
than that, like Dracula was more of a scientist than he was a vampire. And he was like the superior vampire because everyone else was who who turned into vampires was still decaying. He wasn't, and that was interesting aspect of it.
Well, he was at
Like he would
first.
let people.
Here's the thing: like at first, when
Yeah,
he's all old and weird and shit, I think that's because he was feeding off the same people that were not giving him anything new to work with, and that's why he was
yeah,
rotting, and that's why he
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
Harker and to go to London so he could have like a new uh,
Mm,
food supply, let's say.
mm.
Uh, so I think that made sense, and I don't remember if that was actually, but I think most movies have actually handled it the same way of how he
No, this was the
changes
first
from.
time, Chris. I looked at it as like Dracula. I mean, I thought Dracula liked to feed on the beautiful for sure, but I never really looked at him as somebody who like gained the knowledge of the people he drank. If you know what I mean. This was the first incarnation of that I've seen of Dracula. I loved it. I love the
Yeah, I
fact that
liked
okay,
it a lot.
you
Yeah,
need to speak German. All right, I'll be back in a minute. He just fucking feeds on that German sailor in the second episode. Sorry for jumping ahead, but things like that, it was really clever. And then he was obviously feeding on Jonathan Harker so much that he even sounded English, which
yeah. Here's the
was
thing.
interesting.
The thing that was said throughout was that blood is lives. That's what they try to say with that, is that that's where you are, that you are your blood, and when I drink your blood, I take all that you are, pretty much, and
Mm.
you live within me in a way. So all your knowledge, all your experiences live within Dracula, and that's why he was so ahead of the game, because he had so many people's experiences that, it's like having multiple brains or something.
Now, the reveal of Van Helsing was nice. I did I thought it was a nice Helsing character, but it was more of a battle of wits than a physical battle between the two of them. Would you say? If anything, it was not a
Yeah,
physical
definitely.
battle at all.
Which,
It was
yeah,
pure wits.
which actually brings us to the second episode with the chessboard. I think that was a really, really, really good artistic
Uh-huh.
representation of their dynamic, and
Yeah.
how, like, but Helsing was very sure of herself, very arrogant, let's say. So she picked the side that was losing at the time, but she was able to turn the tide by the end. And that was very interesting to see how she was figuring out what this whole thing was. And actually, at first, I was like, what the fuck? Why are they in the castle? Why are they playing chess? Why all these, flirtatious back and forth? What happened to Bina? Like, but as the episode progressed, it all made sense. And, but I have to say, though, like, okay, you're on a ship that's gonna sail for 4 fucking weeks. It has like less than 10 passengers that you have handpicked to feed on, and then you go through three of them within 2 days. I mean, come on, how are you gonna do
Chris,
this?
go, maybe you can enlighten me now because certain things I was finding hard to grasp, like the Indian doctor in episode 2, he has that encounter with that zombie at the beginning, and we
Hmm.
don't know really what happens between him, that encounter, and him getting on the boat. I didn't understand that, and what happened to the zombie vampire afterwards as well. Where did it go?
Well,
You know,
it didn't tell us anything. It just told us that this doctor had experience on the undead, and
okay, okay.
and this fact, and the fact that he was a scientist, was the reason that he was picked to sail on the boat, because Dracula wanted to feed on him and gain his scientific knowledge, and
You
perhaps
know
what he had learned from the other vampire, presumably.
what I noticed from this episode. I mean, like I've seen vampires and Dracula and all of that um, in many carnations in many films, but this version of Dracula wanted to feed all the fucking time when he was on that boat. He didn't give a shit, man. All right, I'm gonna feed on this person. I'm about to feed on this person. Now I'm gonna feed on this fucking person. Like he just couldn't stop feeding.
I think it actually makes sense from where I'm standing, because the main part of the vampiric condition, if you will, is that there's always this hunger for blood, this bloodlust that you have to fulfill all the fucking time, that it's always there. And at least in the role playing game, it's supposed to be represented as such. Like, it's always there, it's always in the back of your mind, uh,
He was
trying
feeding
to
within minutes
make
of other.
you.
He was feeding within minutes. You know, like don't get me wrong. I'm fine. I'm fine with this version of Dracula. I have no problem with it. I've just never seen anything like it. Usually, a vampire has
I
a bite
think
and he's
I
done.
think
You know, he's done for the
I
day.
think they humanized him a lot. They made this greed, this gluttonous greed for blood, that
Mhm.
actually made him look more human than good. Because if it's like, oh, I feed once and then I will sleep for a month and I'll be fine. But no, he was a slave to his own desires and his own needs for blood, and he didn't make any apologies for it or any effort to not be that.
Well,
So
you know
in
what?
this sense, he appeared very, very human.
I got from this show, like when I watched the first episode, I thought it would be a series on a whole variety of different characters as they chart along this journey from episode 1 to episode 3. But after episode 1 and then continuing on episode 2, what I got is that this show is about Dracula and the people he encounters, and all these people who he does encounter, the majority of them will be dead before the end of the episode. And that really was the case, and I loved it.
But
You know, but in the second episode, apart from Van Helsing, there was no reoccurring character, I believe. He killed everyone he had to kill in the first episode. He killed everyone he had to kill in the second episode, and he done it in the third as well. It was just him on a
Mhm.
constant killing spree. And I just knew that, okay, you're talking to him, you're dead. You're talking to him, you're dead. You're talking to him, you're dead. It became like that for me as well, though. Like every encounter, you're dead. So that's how I thought of it as well.
I mean, yeah, it went to show that it was nothing for him to kill because that's his nature, that's who he is.
He likes to
But
toy with his food, like most vampires, though, which is good to see. He likes to have a
well, yeah, but
conversation, get to
for
know them a little
example,
bit
with the
before he
old
eats them.
lady, yeah, with the old lady on the ship, he made it a whole different experience for her. Like, it's like he took her back many decades ago when she was young and beautiful and all this shit, and then of course he killed her, but it made her
So
it made it a good
he
experience for
basically
her.
killed all the he basically Dracula pretty much killed all the aristocrats and all the counts and kings and queens of his era, because she seemed like a high society, obviously. So, and he did kill her mother, didn't he?
Yep.
I believe that was mentioned.
Yep. Yeah.
So he was
Well,
continuing the
it
family
was
tradition.
implied. Yeah, it was implied. Yeah.
Yeah, it was implied, but it was obvious that he did. And so, yeah, he was continuing the family tradition, and he finished her off and stuff, which was cool. Uh, yeah, I was surprised nobody thought it was Dracula earlier on. This guy's a loner. Everyone else is kind of
Yeah,
associated with
but
him.
here's the thing, though, that he had the charisma to deflect uh, suspicion away from him, and he was actively trying to help them. Well, not for real, but you know, appear as if he's helping.
Yeah, I guess.
And
I guess.
most of them were just sailors, peasants. Like the only person the only person that was actually above normal intelligence would probably be the scientist dude, and of course the deaf mute girl that's seen everything. Oh man, poor little
Well,
girl.
the scientist dude and the mute girl, they've got an alibi, but they've got each other. You've got the couple and the black guy. They're triangular. They've got each other. Like they wouldn't think of like there's groups of people. You got the sailors who know each other. The only person who'd be maybe suspicious was that new kid who came on. Obviously, they could have thrown the suspicion towards him. But other than that, everyone kind of was in groups. So why would they think that each other is a serial killer on this
Yeah,
boat?
but the fact that there was a secret person on cabin number 9 was a big thing. Like, okay, why is this person secret? Why don't we know who they are? Why haven't we ever seen them? No.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I did enjoy that episode. It became like a who done it, where you know who's done it.
Yeah, a game of Clue.
Yeah, where you're thinking, will they figure it out and all of that, and it's just everything about this episode. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like the first two episodes were really good, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed both episodes. But when this
Yeah,
episode ended,
and
and it ended in the modern day. I mean, after all the palaver with Van Helsing, and then everyone finding out he's a vampire, and they toss him overboard and shit like that, and the ship sinks. And then Van Helsing, and then he comes out of the water, and it's the modern day. I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. But then when the episode actually happens, Chris, I have to be very honest with you. I thought episode 3 was a bit of a disappointment compared to the first two. I didn't like it that much. It was the fish out of water story, and it wasn't
um,
really
yeah, but
wasn't
not
really.
really though.
It
Anyway, I'm not
was. It
done
was.
with the second
It
yet
was.
because
Okay,
the
fair
big
enough.
part, because big part of the second episode was how Van Helsing was able to outsmart him in the end and expose
I
him.
guess. Yeah, yeah. She spat out some blood, even though she's got a bloodstained shirt. But
Well,
yeah, okay,
it's a
fair enough.
different thing because that was dry blood, not actual living blood. So you
Yeah. Okay,
know.
but I'll give you
And
that. But
well, it was a good plan, generally speaking. What she did. Um, and yeah, the end too. Like, but all the time I was thinking, you threw all the boxes of dirt overboard. If he goes overboard as well, he can find one of the boxes and just chill in there. So I thought that was a bit, uh, that
it's
was a bit of
dirt,
a
though. Wouldn't it get just
pull.
washed away in the ocean?
Well,
I don't
no,
get
because
it.
it was packed inside boxes.
Wooden boxes, it's not like the water doesn't get through.
Well, it would just wet the soil and just go to the bottom. It wouldn't take the soil
Or it wouldn't
out.
disperse.
Anyway, but anyway, he was able to find the box anyway and
He
survive.
didn't need the dirt. We already know that anyway, but
No, he didn't need to. He has to
he
rest in.
didn't. He didn't need the box.
He didn't
That's
need
what
the
he
box.
thought, but we are. But anyway,
Well, yeah, but that's the whole thing. Actually, well, the third episode, yeah, it was a bit different because it was in modern day, and okay, it was very interesting seeing Dracula after 100 something years and just using a fucking smartphone and be like, yeah, I'm gonna text this person or whatever. But it made sense how they did it since this information all was contained in the blood that he fed from.
I just didn't like the episode. I didn't like the introduction of these new characters. We had to get to know. It felt very jarring having to see their shit. I did not like this episode, and the end. And I mean, we could talk about the episode in more depth, but the ending as well was such a BBC fucking ending. You know what I mean? Just like their Sherlock episodes. No wonder they had that geezer come back to play Dracula's version of Igor as his lawyer. It was very
Oh, come on, I
Sherlocky.
love this guy. Yeah, I love this guy
No, no,
though.
no, no, it's not, no, I'm not having a go at him. I'm just saying, just correlating things. You
Yeah.
know, it's, the ending was very unsatisfying. Like, um,
No, I think the ending
I didn't
was
like it.
like
I didn't like it at all.
what ending would you have preferred as an ending to the
I don't
story?
know. I don't know. I don't know. But not this. But this one. Look, it's all good that that he it was a fallacy. All these things that he thought weakened him were a fallacy.
I think that you're
Um,
missing the message here because I think that the ending was handled well actually because it gave a
okay, explain it.
resolution. It gave a resolution to the problem that Dracula had. It gave him closure. It gave him an answer to a question he didn't know he had. Like why that his greatest fear was the fact that he could never die and not any of these other things. And coming to this realization and then standing at the only way that he could possibly end it, and he decided that, well, perhaps I've had enough and perhaps I'm ready for it. it was a good ending in my opinion. Like the third episode, yeah, it wasn't as, I didn't like it as much as the previous two, but I did like the end.
I was hoping that your answer would have enlightened me a bit, but no, I still thought it was shit. I really
Why
wanted
though?
to. I didn't like for a start from the modern day setting right up to the resolution. I mean, it went very classic Hammer horror. We found out the light didn't kill him, but with the way Dracula's mind is, as a sort of person that he is, he's portrayed such a self-centered person that he could have just gone out in this world and thought, "Fuck this." All this time, I thought this, and this was stopping me. It's not nothing stopping me. The world is
Yeah,
mine,
but
you know. But
it
no, he
was
didn't
quite,
go like that. It didn't go
no,
like
because
that
it
at
was
all.
quite an
You
emotional
know, and
moment.
I'm surprised. Okay, so maybe the
Keep
light
this in
makes him
mind,
good.
he
Well,
was
I don't know,
able,
but
look, he was able to look at the sun straight up after many centuries of living in the dark and not be able to do that. And you have to understand that this must have been a very emotional moment. So perhaps the decision to go down with the ship, let's say, was not a rational one, but more an emotional one
I
at that point
disagree.
in time.
I disagree. The character we've had of Dracula all this time shows somebody who's very self-centered, who likes to fuck with people. Yeah,
Yeah, but
nothing.
he had
Even
emotions.
if anything, this would have made him more sinister. And so I totally disagree. And I didn't enjoy this ending at all. Not at all. It
No,
didn't go
though,
well.
because he was shown as having emotions, as having passions. Uh, he liked science, he liked art, he enjoyed the finer things. He had emotions, and he really liked the sun. And he was able to finally face the sun, and
No one ever said that
it
Dracula
was like
never had
a
emotions.
fulfillment of his life at this point. Because keep in mind, he has lived for centuries. After a point, it must get a bit boring. And when you
Chris,
have an experience like that, yeah, it is pretty, deep.
I'm sorry. I didn't like the direction of. I didn't like the way it went. It wasn't for me.
Here's the thing: if they kept him alive and going and made a season 2 or a season 3, it would have gone to shit. Because there's nothing more to tell
I'm
about the
not doubt. I'm
story.
not doubting that. I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting that at all. But this ending for me was your stereotypical Sherlock Holmes ending. You know, from the BBC, all these when they do these sort of productions, they do these fucked up endings, and this is no different. You know, I didn't
Do
like
you
it.
not
I mean,
agree that he had a connection with Van Helsing?
yeah, but not that one.
Yeah, that one. There was like fucking tension throughout the episodes.
He had
Uh,
a connection
he did not.
with
He
her
could have
ancestor,
killed her.
her
Yeah,
forefather.
well, yeah, but after she drank his blood, her
Yeah, I
ancestor
agree.
was
I
in
agree
there
on
too.
that.
He could have killed
But
her
because
from
she
the
also
first
looked like
episode.
her
He did
as
not.
well. Nevertheless, nevertheless, we have one Van Helsing for another. That's great. Let's keep the Van Helsing thing going. And I just didn't like how it was portrayed. It was trying to be too clever for its own good, and this is typical BBC for you. I sometimes you got to keep things a little bit more simpler. You can be a bit more cliched. There's nothing wrong in that when it comes to this particular material. But either way, the bad guy should have won, or the good guy should have won.
Well,
The
the
bad guy
bad
couldn't
guy
get away.
kind of won, though. They both won in a sense. Here's the thing: if it had ended with her dying and him walking away and continuing his rampage, it wouldn't make any impact at all. We wouldn't be talking about it. With this ending, it showed their connection
I
and the
pers-
depth of their connection, and we're talking about it. So I'm okay with this
but
ending.
I don't know. I mean, I think it would have been so cool if she ran running towards those blinds just to realize that the sunlight doesn't do shit, and and he feels like a fool for all these years for believing in all these fairy tales that he believes were stopping him but it was all in his mind, and the sunlight being on his body would have made him realize that, and he's not going to be a fool any longer. Kills Van Helsing, goes out there. End of season 1. Season 2, we have the
No.
Daywalker.
Uh, I'll tell you why I think this would have been shit. Because I don't think he was a fool for believing that. I think perhaps at some point he knew but didn't want to, and he was mostly in denial because of the fact that he knew that he could never die, and the fact that he could never die made him the way he was. When he realizes that, okay, I've made all these weaknesses for myself, but they aren't true, but here I actually have a chance to end my life, which was actually something he probably wanted deep down.
Uh,
Yes, I mean,
just
think
sounds
about it. No, think
those,
about it. If you were living for 5 fucking centuries, wouldn't it the thought cross your mind that, oh fuck, I want to
guy
end it?
is a fucking god, and all these things that which were stopping him were in his mind. They're not stopping him anymore. He's practically
Yeah, he
unstoppable.
has no challenges. People, look, he wants to have some challenge. Like, if you were given everything freely without any effort, would you enjoy anything in life if there was no challenge? I wouldn't. I would be like, kill me now. No. It's like playing on easy mode with cheats.
I know that requires a little bit of thought. I'll be honest with you. I can see where you're coming from, but nevertheless, this ending I still found to be absolute shit. I just really wanted this whole episode was absolute shit. These new characters were absolute shit. I didn't need that. You should have just kept it in the past, not in the present. I was very disappointed with this episode. It was so good, the first 2 episodes, and to go there and do all this shit, the payoff was not worth it. The payoff was underwhelming, and yeah, just
I don't know.
I didn't like it.
Personally, the feeling I got after finishing the whole 3 episode was positive. I didn't feel duped. I didn't feel bad. I thought it was actually a very interesting show. It made me think. It was what's the word? Entertaining, and overall,
It was.
I
I'm
think
not
it was
look.
good. I understand that many people will dislike it for many reasons. One might be the ending. One might be that, the trope has been overdone, or maybe because, oh well, it's not book accurate, or all this shit. But personally, I think I found it very refreshing. I don't know.
I couldn't find sympathy for somebody like Dracula, and I didn't like that ending. I just didn't like it being set in the modern day at all. It really, and like I said, these new characters as well in the modern day, all these different people having to figure them out and follow them. I didn't want that. Um, it would have been better as an episode of The Fugitive, with him being on the run from these fuckers who want to experiment on him. Then all this other shit.
Where would he be
Um,
on the run, though? As you said, he's
I,
a fucking god among humans. Why would he
sorry.
be on the run? He's a god among humans. Why would he be on the run?
Yeah, but he still thinks he still he's to
He
being
still thinks
certain
he's
things being
much
unveiled.
more
He
than
still believed that
humans.
certain things. No, but he still thought that things like sunlight stopped him, so he would try to stay indoors and stuff like that during the day. He could still be captured.
Yeah,
So
but he didn't
anyway,
give a
the point
fuck.
is, he didn't give a
As you
fuck, which
saw,
is
he
that's the
didn't
great.
hide.
He's the sort of
Yeah,
person who didn't give a fuck. He killed that. He killed that woman with the camera, without blinking an eyelid. He's a very dangerous, psychotic man. So him all of a sudden having this revelation, I just didn't like the way his mindset went from someone who's such a horrible human being, yeah, to really sinister, to somehow being I shouldn't have been like this. No, he would go out there and be fucking
No, no,
killing
no,
people
no,
and
no.
eating people.
There
That's what
was
he does.
no.
Regardless of his challenge. He's going out there just doing anything he wants to rule the fucking planet.
Yeah, I think you're
Oh, I
confused. His
disagree. I
ending
disagree.
wasn't
Dracula,
for moral reasons. It wasn't moral. He didn't kill himself so that he wouldn't do any more harm. He didn't care about that. It was self-centered that he did.
I just
Look,
no.
I know
I'm
you're
sorry.
looking at
I
it from
want.
a human perspective. I look at it from a vampire perspective. Okay?
I'm looking at it from an entertainment perspective. I want to be entertained. This was not an entertaining ending. I know enough about vampire lore to thoroughly enjoy the first two episodes, which were fantastic, really good episodes. And the third episode ruined it with the modern day setting, ruined it with the stupid ending. You know, I didn't like the modern day Van Helsing either. I didn't like that. I prefer
Well,
the we as the nun. Much more interesting character than this fucking person dying of cancer. Bollocks. Bollocks. I didn't
yeah,
like it, man.
because she had
I didn't like
different
it.
fucking experiences. But as a vampire expert, I can tell you that the ending to me made sense.
That's great. I'm glad you liked it. At least one of us did.
I'm the vampire expert. Anyway, uh,
Yeah.
anything else that we have to talk about?
Will there be a season two?
I doubt it. I wouldn't want there to be a season two, honestly.
Well, they made it like a season one, season two thing, didn't they? Like
Mm, I don't know. I hope
they're
there won't.
making Dracula the good guy.
He was never a good guy, dude. He was not a good guy in the end either.
He drank that cancer blood and it makes him a good guy.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Okay,
It
let me
does
ask you.
whatever the
Okay, let
writers.
me ask you
It
this.
does
Let me
whatever
ask
the
you
writers want it to
this.
be,
Let me
Chris.
ask you this. Hitler killed himself. Did the fact that he killed himself make him a good guy?
No,
There's your
of
answer.
course not.
There's your answer.
I'm not saying yeah, he's not saying he's being redeemed. I never said that, Chris. Jesus Christ. You should know the
It
difference. I'm just saying
doesn't
that they
make
turn him
him a
into a
good
good guy.
guy.
Yeah. Like
It just
he drank the
doesn't.
cancer of Van Helsing, and then like, oh no, it's going through my veins, and I don't think I'm going to be like Angel from fucking Buffy the Vampire. I'm going to be a dragon with a soul. I'm a dragon, a Dracula with a soul, a vampire with a soul, even. And that's how it's going to roll, Chris. Season
I
two,
don't know.
guaranteed.
It was very artistic, but I wish there won't be a season two. Sometimes I'm like, okay, it went well. Just leave it there. You don't need to overdo it. I don't want to have a season two.
I love the vampire films and Dracula and stuff like that. I would love to see other versions of it. I love to see more, different films, vampire shows, and another rendition of Dracula. That would be nice. I wouldn't mind that.
I mean, here's the
No
thing.
problem
Though.
with it. If you could, I wouldn't mind
Uh,
a modern day Dracula
I think Dracula
from
has
the
been
get
overdone.
go.
It's been overdone, dude. Like, if we start from the Hammer films, then in the 70s they had some really shitty ones. Like, even Andy Warhol has made the Dracula movie. Okay, and I have watched it because I
Everything
don't
gets
know why I hate
overdone, Chris,
myself.
but it's about being does it get done right? Like the amount of times that
Done right
they
a
keep
few
making.
times.
Sorry,
It was done right a few times, but here's the thing with vampire
they
movies
keep
in
making
general.
Batman films. Some are good,
Let
some
me
are shit.
finish my sentence. Here's the thing with vampire movies. There's a plethora of shitty vampire movies and only a few that are actually really good vampire movies. It's a hard to do genre. And I think this was done well. Don't fuck it up with a second season.
I think this was done almost well. They should do a second season where Dracula is a good guy. He drinks the blood of cancer, turns him into a goody two shoes, and he goes out stopping demons. What do you think of that, Chris?
It would suck.
All right, great. Well, I think we're done talking about this. I got nothing more to add.
Would you recommend it?
Yes, I would. I definitely
Yeah,
would.
me too. I'd say definitely watch it. It's very interesting. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. If you want, you can leave a comment on this video or on the Facebook page, and we can talk about what you think about Dracula.
I just want to say
And
that this show doesn't lag. By the way, Chris, it gets going from the beginning. Like there's no waiting around. You're introduced to Dracula very quickly. So it's a good show. Um, and even though there's 3 episodes which are 1.5 hour long, it doesn't feel like a drag.
yeah, it doesn't get boring.
Yeah. Well, the third episode I would say was felt a bit draggish at times, but other than that,
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching our little review here. Like the
yeah,
video,
we're done.
subscribe to the channel, join us on Facebook because we're the best nerd group, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take care, everyone. Bye
Bye.
bye.